Serious, gamers of Reddit, what's the creepiest encounter you've had with another player in game while playing online? I used to play Roblox religiously about 12 years ago. One time my brother and I were playing on a world he made, and some random person joined. They started talking to us, and somehow knew all of these recent details about our life. My dad's knee surgery, our cat dying, our grandma dying, all sorts of stuff. This freaked us out really badly, because we were just kids and thought this stranger somehow knew everything about us. My mom ended up contacting Roblox to see if they could do anything, but the most they could do was tell us other accounts this person was connected to. It turns out it was our cousin who made a fake account just to harass us. It was super traumatizing at the time, lol. All of his accounts ended up getting banned, because he would apparently stalk people to whatever world they joined just to harass them and freak them out. Dickhead cousin comes back with the dickhead move. Someone bothering a young sounding player by asking them to say something perverted. It went on for 3 rounds, roughly an hour. I'm a moderator in a browser game. I have only had one seriously bad interaction with a player. I warned and then banned, for an hour, him for some jacassery, so the player logs into another account to discuss it with me. That's not uncommon and I'm happy to discuss further as long as it remained civil, and it was fine. Initially, the guy starts getting testy and rude and agitated. Then he types my first name and some unknown surname, with a question mark, then again with a different surname. This guy is trying to figure out who I am in real life. Took me a little bit to realize what was happening, and it scared the crap out of me. He told one of the admins and the guy was promptly permabanned. He later told one of the admins he was only doing it to put a face to the name so he could more calmly discuss it. Even if that is true, I do not give a frick. Get away from me forever. A Reddit user was able to find out my full name by the comments I posted with a different account. Granted, he did it because I wanted him to see if I am sharing more than I should be, and sure enough he found out quite a bit about me through my own comments. I'm female and used my mic during an online FPS to give callouts to my team. One guy on the team straight up threatened to rape me in the most casual way possible, simply because I spoke and was female. NGL, that sounds like a Rainbow Six Siege kinda thing. I haven't had any, but my wife and I made some friends playing Halo and she got to know them pretty well. We'd log on most nights and shoot the crap while shooting crap. One day while she was playing with one of these guys, they start talking about relationships, etc., as well as sex. To my wife it doesn't seem like a weird conversation. The guy does say he's lonely because he's been single for a while, but generally speaking they're not really saying anything inappropriate or particularly dirty. A little while later he confesses to her that he jerked off while she was talking and asked if that bothered her. Her initial reaction was that it was a bit weird, but she sympathized with him and wasn't going to hold it against him. But a few hours later when I got home from work she had really started to be bothered by it and wanted to unfriend block the guy, but felt bad about it because she didn't really feel justified, especially since she'd already sort of forgiven him. But she didn't feel comfortable with the idea of talking to. After agonizing about it for a while she decided to block him and try and forget about it. I think that day we both learned that you really do have to curate your online experience and there's no reason not to cut ties with people who cross a line. You don't owe those people anything. But it was really weird how this guy kind of violated her trust and she still somehow felt like the bad guy for not wanting to be his friend anymore. That's because he was a manipulative frick, playing the I'm lonely card. Glad she blocked him, he sounds like a creep. Okay, so, when I was playing Minecraft with some friends, I offhandedly mentioned that I was hungry. One guy who I didn't know but seemed relatively normal at the time said a pizza's on its way to your house. I immediately checked back in chat because I did not remember typing up my address, let alone giving it to someone I didn't know personally. I acted normal and kept playing. 30 minutes later, a pizza arrived at my door, already paid for. I immediately told all my friends to watch out for him, since he had somehow gotten my address. I have not heard or spoken to him in a couple of years. However, I am still somewhat cautious about giving out any information that may pin down my location. The flip side of this, I was drunkenly playing Xbox one day and teamed up with a chill dude also drinking. We killed crap, had a good old time getting blasted. I, in my genuine sober mind, gave him my address cause I mentioned I was hungry and he said he'd order a pizza for me. Dude came through. Best pizza ever. Guy claimed to be a P-star. Kept joining all my StarCraft games asking questions he shouldn't have been asking a 14-year-old boy. This went on for a few days until, if I remember right, I changed my net tag to dodge the creepy old frick for good. Everyone knows pornster types can't resist some StarCraft. Heard gunshots, then a couple dudes arguing, then silence. Then the player was kicked for inactivity. Couldn't call the cops, didn't know where to even start. They could have been anywhere in the US, Canada. Also, I was like 14, so I was just mad about the loud noises and didn't even process what I had heard until like an hour later. For future others reference, often the best thing to do in this situation is to contact the company that runs the game. They'll usually put a bit of effort in to try and use the person's PI to contact local authorities. Not really a creepy encounter, but certainly a life-changing one. When I was playing Rocket League on Xbox, over voice chat, the guy, he sounded like he was 17-18 years old, I was playing against starting cussing me out before I even hit the ball. I just assumed he was having a really bad day, so I just went about the game and ended up winning. This guy got really upset, and I mean, really upset. He started crying and I kinda felt bad, so I invited him to my party to see what was going on with him. I had a really long deep chat that lasted a few hours with the stranger about how he was getting bullied, like brutally bullied, and how his parents practically kicked him out of the family. I tried to make him feel better, but he couldn't stop crying when I heard a gunshot. My heart sank. I thought this guy just shot himself, but he didn't. He said that his thoughts were extremely dark and killing himself felt like the best option, but he said that talking to me made him feel the tiniest bit better just to stop himself from doing the unthinkable. That made me cry, so now we were both crying. I friended him and we talked every day until things started getting brighter for him. I told him to talk to his family and try to straighten things out, and it worked. He left his headset on so I could hear the whole 3 hours of him making up with his family, and he moved school where he made better friends who are really nice people. I ended up friending them too. As a thank you to me for stopping him from killing himself, he offered to buy me something, but I rejected his offer. I didn't help him for material gain, I helped him so he would make it to his adult life. That got really emotional for me just typing that, but that was my weirdest yet best encounter with a person online. This is probably the most uplifting thing I've read on the internet in quite a while. I'm glad the man is doing better. Not sure if I'd say creepy, but definitely weird. A few years back, when GTA 5 first came out, I had a group of friends I played with daily. One day, we match-made for some death matches or races or something. I don't remember, but we decided to invite the people we matched with to an Xbox Live party. We all played for a few hours, added each other, and then went to bed. The next day, when I got online, one of the guys from the session invited me to a party. The moment I turned my Xbox on, I joined, and at first he was cool, but then he started talking to his wife and kids while playing. You could definitely tell nobody was there, as his mic picked up every little sound, even just the sound of him moving his analog sticks. No other voices came through his headset. He then thanked his wife for making him something to eat, and then started smacking his lips and making fake eating sounds. I ended up asking him if I could say hi to his wife or one of his kids, and he got really defensive and made a bunch of excuses like they just went out to the store. But you were just talking about what to make for dinner not 15 seconds ago? I called him out, and he just left the party. Never heard from him again. That's hella creepy. Guy sounds nutty. I play a female character in WoW because the male Pandaren are goofy looking and I wasn't gonna play another race for Monk. Obviously. The flirting. Oh god, the flirting. Listen, most female avatars are male players. That goes for any game. Second, nobody's gonna marry some night elf they met at a random battleground, especially one who refers to them as lady and tries to heal them instead of their dying teammates. Yeah, the worst experience was by far trying to win a game while some man kept flirting and neglecting doing any real healing. Keep that crap in Moon good. This whole idea that most female characters are men bugs me tbh. I have no problem with men playing female characters, but it seems super dismissive to assume any gamer is a guy. Part of the reason women are treated so poorly in games is because it's seen as unique. The reality is a lot of girls do play games, and a lot have to hide being a girl gamer because of things like this. I frickin' got this. Playing the original Rust. It was dead but night and one of the builds where night was pitch fricking black. I am in this small network of abandoned houses about 4 stories up when I hear something. I also noticed there's a fire in one of the top rooms. Frickin' A. I go up there and as I enter the room it's just this dude sitting there on his own, naked, chanting in Latin very slowly. The frick. So I watch him for a bit and he's got his back turned to me. He can't know I'm there. Suddenly the fire goes out and I feel like I am suddenly surrounded by noise and screaming and I'm getting fricking attacked. Gunshots, screaming, static, high-pitched noises, absolute chaos. Then suddenly it's over. Dude is gone. Fire is gone. Sound is gone. Deathly silent. I look around and I don't even find any evidence he was there. God dang frick everything about that. At least you weren't in a shack then suddenly a swarm of people attacking your home with stones and one single Mickey Mouse-esque voice greeting you and saying how they'll skull frick you and your pets. Female gamer here, so I have encountered almost all kinds of creeps. One of the most memorable was a guy, we'll call him Kevin, who played a few games of Modern Warfare 3 with me and a couple of friends. Kevin became so infatuated by the sound of my voice that he wouldn't play with our group unless I was there and actively talking. Eventually, he wanted to play games with only me and no one else. I had a bad feeling about it so I never joined him. He private messaged me hoping that I would join a private chat. When I refused, Kevin became desperate. Any game I was playing by myself he wanted to join me. When I logged onto my console he would message me almost immediately. He wanted to hear my voice on the mic so badly that he even offered to buy me some online games if I talked to him for a few minutes. He got upset when I refused him again. His attitude changed and he turned into a huge butthole. All of a sudden I, being his hopeful love interest, was demoted to W&B. Kevin realized that his little plan had backfired when I wasn't caving to his breakdown. He begged for me to send him a voice message of myself moaning in pleasure. I told him off and blocked him. Soon random guy came into my CS:GO game. He started typing out addresses in the chat of people. He typed out mine. Creepy as heck. Once I had a guy come in and do the same as well. Then when he listed another dude's address, the dude then replied with something along the lines of nah, that ain't mine, isn't he sent an address, full name and school back. Turns out it was the guy's details and he apologized then promptly left. Someone kept messaging me and asking for my name and address. I blocked them, and another account started doing the same thing. EZO gets some funky people in it. Once upon a time, while playing Duck Game, I got into a lobby with 4 people. One of them left after 2 rounds. There was only me, the host, and that player I will be talking about. It was a standard match. Nothing standard out of bounds of normality. Until, well, let's say that the guy we're talking about didn't play at all. He was just standing in place and wrote strange messages, some of which are described later. He had a dinosaur hat, and did nothing but tell strange things in the chat. He said anything he could say. He talked about some stories that his grandmother told him. He talked about a man who stole his father's car. I can clearly remember the message that caught me the most out of other middles that he wrote. A man stole my father's car. My family was in grief, because we cannot get other car. Seems like he was poor, but not to worry. This man will never steal cars from other people ever again. He met, a long pause, him. When the match has ended, he said that his grandmother told him that the end is coming and everything will soon be not to worry about. He left. I was concerned on his words, stunned. I met him later the same day in other lobby. I asked him what he was talking about last time. Yes, you're right. The end is coming. My grandmother never lies. 27th of November. Soon my words will come true, and with that I will eradicate from current existence. And he left the lobby. That was by far the most creepy encounter of mine. 3 years ago by now, but I still freak out every November 27th. Woof, that's creepy. I looked up November 27th to see if anything is significant about that date, but nothing really sticks out except for the Planned Parenthood shooting in Colorado back in 2015. Hope it's not connected to that. So when I was 13, me and my friend were playing the newly released COD. I think it was Modern Warfare 2. We were killing this guy over and over again with explosives and he got really mad and started cursing at us in the post-game lobby. We found this funny and cursed him back, but at the time our English was kinda bad, so we used our native language. He just stopped for a moment, laid down his headset, and we heard a set of voices in the background. When he came back, he told me my full address and name and that he is going to beat me up, and all that in my native language. We obviously freaked out and were even thinking on calling the cops, but it turned out he was a friend of my friend's brother and he recognized my gamer tag. What's your native language, if you don't mind me asking? I heard a child being beat for something he obviously didn't do. His dad was screaming, "Why did you steal that man's wallet?" While beating him, he was obviously drunk and very high. I still have a voice recording of it happening. While back I was playing Roblox. Still do sometimes. Not very much now, and I had joined a town roleplay game. There are many. IDK which one? I was just messing around, driving around town and stuff, when a person started asking another person for personal information, name, state they live in, stuff like that. They started giving their personal info to this dude, and he began to make sexual remarks. At that moment I wanted no part in it and left. Sorry, mobile formatting sucks. As an adult who plays Roblox with my kids extensively, there are definitely pedos on there. I made sure my kids know how to report players. Befriended a guy in Neverwinter when I was in high school and played daily with a great guild. He was a little weird and tried to hit on me, but I shut it down since I wasn't interested and also had a boyfriend. He ended up joining my guild, and after making moves on me again, me telling him to stop or that would be the end of our friendship, he finally quieted down. We were in different channels. This was TeamSpeak 3. When I get a message from someone that he was popping off in the main channel about how I was a BS terrible person. Just a huge rant, in text, about how I should be kicked from this guild, and my friends shouldn't talk to me anymore. At this point he's been there for maybe 2 weeks and I've been there for almost a year. I got screenshots and 2 other people also got them. Within 10 minutes, during which he ranted the entire time, he got permanently removed from the guild and was blocked by most people online. Was 12 or 13 at the time, playing RuneScape in the early mid 2000s. Always used a guy avatar. I'm a girl. This low level lady avatar asked me for some bronze armor and I'm like okay, and even smithed some weapons too. Then she says let's go to bed, and I'm like nope, and logged out. Me, with a mic. Ugh, that idiot shotgunned me before I could see him. Rando dude, I'd shotgun you in the butt baby. Sounded like a 12-year-old. I laughed, muted him, and went on with my game. The creepy part was when he messaged me a 4-paragraph long fanfiction of us having sex, including him shotgunning my butt with his 12-inch mega dong. Kids these days are a special kind of crazy sometimes. Obviously, I reported him and went on with my day, but WTF dude, I just wanted to murder virtual people for a few hours in peace. Shotgunning my butt with his 12-inch mega dong. That's freaking hilarious, I'm sorry. So this one stormy night on Ark Survival Evolved, me along with 2 others settled in a stone home with no door. One of my friends have a pistol with 4 bullets. We hear noise outside. We are in the jungle in pitch darkness and my friend takes a look outside, and all I could see was the light of the gunshots and his mic go silent. My second friend tried to run but fell off a cliff. I ran outside and proned in a bush. The lightning from the storm showed me the monster trying to kill us. It was a tall skinny black character with a spear and no clothing. We decided to go on another game later that day. I like to make the wackiest characters in Ark. It's funny to hear people actions. So I play PUBG Mobile, which is voice chat as we all know. So I load up squads and we're playing and I'm talking and communicating with everyone on my team, but this one guy whose mic was buzzing static. Well, it's the bottom of the match and we've almost won when we get cornered in a house. So as we're shooting and covering, this dude's mic spits into life and the static stopped. All I hear is watch where you point that and a boom. Before this dude's character just stops moving. Well, we lost the round, but I can't help but wonder what TF happened. Boom as in an in-game explosion or in the voice chat. This was years ago on the Xbox 360's live service when I was playing Rainbow Six Vegas 2 shortly after launch. I was king lobbies while waiting for my clanmates to log on when I entered a game that was awaiting more players. Immediately it was obvious that someone was having sex due to the audio I heard from one of the randoms' mic. The game starts and I'm thrown onto the same team as the couple going at it, so naturally their character remained at spawn while the rest of us rushed out to find the enemy. A few more minutes of this goes by until something changed. The female voice starts to protest, quietly at first, but she quickly began to raise her voice. I never heard the other speak. The only response I heard was a loud crash and what sounded like the mic being dropped onto the floor. Girl starts screaming no. Stop, followed by sobs. Shortly after, the player logged out and dropped from the lobby. That's disturbing. I once made a female character in an MMO. Obviously I gave her a female name too. Over the week or so that I played her, I must have got 30 plus messages from random guys. Everything from "Hey, you need help with anything" 5 or 6 times, which I never got as a male character BTW, to "Hey's BB" to "God you're sexy, wanna play." There was even 1 or 2 messages that were a little more lewd than I want to post here, lol. I've heard female gamers talk about things like this, but I always assumed they were exaggerating. It genuinely creeped me out to see the other side of it. Yeah, my MMO characters are always male and have male names. You learned that one pretty quickly. My husband tends to play female characters so we can still Mr. and Mrs. it in game, and we have a laugh at some of the comments he receives while I fly under the radar. When playing GTA with a friend, a random person connected to our room. As soon as the audio of his mic came through, it was just a kid and he was saying the phrase "I hate Engars" over and over again as fast as he could without taking a breath. He did this the entire round until we finished our race and then disconnected. At no point did he stop repeating this phrase in a deathly serious matter-of-fact tone. Kids can be so dumb, man. While playing some Bo 3 Zombies, I decided to get into a game with some randoms to hopefully beat the Shadows of Evil Easter egg. There was this one kid in our lobby whose dad just got home drunk as crap. Next thing you know, this kid was screaming in horror for the dad to stop and to just leave him alone. I didn't really understand what was going on. I just heard most of it go down and I just left scared shitless for that kid. My first time I played Rust, I managed to not get killed long enough to make a basic tool and build a crappy wooden hut with like just enough space for one person. Well, this took me like 25 minutes or so, and as I went and I forgot to lock the door, and this other player with clothes and a gun just opens my door. He just stands there staring at me. I'm thinking like I'm dead. I just stood there waiting for him to do the inevitable. He stands there for like 1 minute staring at me and I just don't move. Then he just turns around and walks off, leaving me alive. No doubt he had too much pity to kill me. My son and I playing games together and against each other. He gets this certain satisfied look, laugh, and smile when he kills me. Was playing Fortnite and some dude was on the mic crying while I heard whispering in the background. Scared the absolute heck out of me. There was also a weird crackling sound like fire, so I just dipped out in fear. What you heard was the crying of the damned heck dude. The whispering was Satan. If you have listened any longer, I don't think you'd be here. Been called baby girl and hit on by a lot of guys at varying ages. I promise you it's always creepy. I do have a story, but I think this is more annoying than creepy, lol. I used to play a lot of Overwatch, sounding feminine and maining Mercy. Back when she wasn't crap, I used to get a lot of attention. I met this one guy who immediately latched onto me, and since he was really good at the game, I was like, why not hang out with him? I wanted to get Mercy's golden gun anyway, and I figured it would be easier with someone like him. He turned out to be a very toxic person, used all of the slurs that you can think of, and was genuinely an awful human being. I don't even know why I put up with it for as long as I did. He would make very weird comments about me and it'd make me hella uncomfortable. He called me Mommy Mercy and he would call himself Big Daddy Reinhardt IDK if he was joking, but I hated it so much. Also, he was one of those people who would spam you with invites if you didn't join right away. I think he ended up making a comment about one of the characters being a gross ugly DK, and that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and I was just done. I stopped responding to his snaps and messages on PS4. He got big mad, lol. At one point he kept spam inviting me to a party and eventually I joined IDKY. It was him and some other random person. Anyway, as me and him were talking more like arguing, the other guy in the party was making comments about things like where I live and what my internet provider was and my IP address. I don't know how the frick he found out. I didn't catch on at first tbh, so I wasn't really freaked out till afterwards. I asked him like why he did that, and he said, oh, I do that so I can hack people and get their internet shut off for a month if I don't like them. I guess he liked me because nothing ever happened. LMAO. I made him laugh a few times when I was insulting that toxic little crap. Or he was bluffing, but still pretty creepy that he knew that information. One of my friends told me it wasn't that hard to find someone's IP address, and I guess it's easy to find out things like where they lived and that. I am not sure how true that is. I blocked the toxic guy and I never heard from the hacker kid again. Pokemon Showdown counts, right? Back when Lady Is Here was relevant, I had my name as something similar on Showdown. Everything was going good until I had a run it with an obsessive fan, who in retrospect was probably a troll, who kept saying weird crap. I'm going to take you to my red room, he says. WTF is a red room? Here's a pic of my red room, and it's a link in the chat. Now when I clicked it, it took me to a Imgur page of this guy's location. All of a sudden he's like, oh, you live in Michigan, which wasn't where I lived as I was at my grandmother's. UHH, no, I live in Florida now. I tried to say, oh, Detroit. See you at 2 AM. As a 13/14-year-old I was scared as frick. For some reason earlier that night I had listened to a scary story about a guy's drug dealer getting tracked down and killed over the deep web, and he got sent his bone dust instead of the sea. I was really panicking, so I left the battle and started new one. This dude followed me into the new battles and I tried to get people to help me, but when this dude started to say creepy crap they'd always leave. I actually have screenshots of this, but I'm typing this on my phone. I ended up just closing my computer and planning an escape method if when this man showed up. Every car that passed by her house that night gave me panic attacks. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.